When a new boss arrives, either through promotion, transfer, or from outside the company, it will change the team balance. Making the right decisions initially will go a long way towards the manager achieving success in the position. Hi, I'm Rick Kendall.
And I'm Fred Ball.
Welcome to Management Mastery. The purpose of these podcasts is to share what each of us has learned about good and bad management in our combined over 40 years of experience, both as managers and executive coaches. During that time, we've coached managers at every level in companies from Fortune 100s to brand new startups in all major businesses, including nonprofits, government, and education. So whether you're just starting in your first management position or are an experienced manager looking to strengthen your management skills, we know our podcast will be valuable to you.
Anytime a new leader is appointed to an organization, it changes the climate of the department. There will be jockeying for position by those who have exerted influence in the old organization. Some of those staff members served the department well by being a top producer, an outstanding teammate, or someone who was an informal leader who could inform the manager of an impending issue. Others come with a set of issues, such as someone who is well-meaning but out of touch. Perhaps they've stayed beyond their use-by date. Or they cannot help because their skills and abilities are not current for the needs of the department going forward. I went into a position one time where there were two peers of mine who ran departments that were the equivalent of mine. And one of them appeared to be wanting to be helpful, but was so clearly out of touch. It didn't take me too long to realize it, but it did take me a little while to realize that he was trying to be helpful, but it really didn't make much difference. And the other peer and I got along fabulously. Another one would be someone feels that they should have had your job. Here you're going to have to do your best to build rapport with the person, and over time, hopefully the person will come around to your leadership, and if not, you're going to have to decide if the person is a keeper.
Yeah, I had that experience when I started in a position. This person definitely thought they should have the job, and no matter what I did, they were very bright, very competent, but they really thought they should be running the company. They weren't just undermining me; they were undermining our mutual boss to people outside the department, and finally things got so bad, this person really jumped ship to another department just before she was shown the door. And another type of person is the person who seeks an opportunity to be more relevant in the department. Sometimes these are people who are in the wrong place at the wrong time. If the person ends up being strong, you may be able to keep them once you find the right role for them. But just as, particularly if you're changing how the department functions, sometimes there are people that just aren't right. I had that experience too, and finally everybody decided they weren't right for the department. They also can be angry and upset, and they just want to undermine you for that reason. It could be totally irrational. You're going to have to watch these people because you may need to speak to HR and say, look, I just can't have this attitude in my department. Or they're seeking power for themselves. I mean, this is another person who will need to be watched. And they won't necessarily be blatant in front of you. I mean, you have to kind of have your antenna up, and what are they saying to other people in the department? What are they saying to people outside the department? What do they say to your clients? And so you need to be really on top of what everybody in your staff is doing, particularly in the first 6 months or so of your tenure in the new position. And making these judgments about who to trust is extremely important to a manager. And there'll always be some staff who will go out of their way to find ways to interact with the manager to show how valuable they can be. They're usually quite extroverted, and they speak well and offer their services in any way they can. But if you're not careful, this person can have, lead you to become too close too fast, and they'll have an undue influence over you to the expense of your relationship with your other staff members. So you need to watch for signs of poor behavior. I mean, they seem to be a winner, but they're not.
Yeah, the managers, another one is that the manager can be looking for someone initially who appears strong and confident and can help them to achieve their goals, but sometimes it will be a front.
Yeah, they can treat you with respect, but they don't treat the other people on the team with respect. They talk down to them, badmouth them, etc. They're real nice and friendly with you, but not with anybody else.
Sometimes they will get into competition with others by trying to one-up them.
Yeah, or, they just don't fit in with the group. And you really have to kind of do a lot of management by wandering around to see that. You want to see how they interact with them in various situations, staff meetings, social events, that sort of thing. You want to see how everybody gets along.
Then on the other side, you have the person who wants to talk on the one side and it's quite extroverted. On the other side, you may have some staff members who are introverted and quiet and who may not be quick to try to sell themselves to the manager, but who bring much more to the table than the person who is in the manager's face. This person will take more time for the manager to understand, but the effort could be well worth it. Getting to know the person, listening to what others say about them, watching the person in staff meetings or on special projects will provide some learning. For someone who is quite introverted, it may take even more time and effort to learn about them.
Oh, yeah. No, that's absolutely true. Particularly in some fields where it's easy to be introverted and stay in your office. You really have to seek them out. Clearly, a new manager or an existing manager, when the composition of the department changes, must exercise a lot of care in deciding whom to listen to and to what degree. This is really what we're talking about. Normally, if you have direct reports, you could start with them and assess them yourself, but before meeting them, spend some time with your boss and with human resources representative to understand their perspectives about the individuals in your department. And you can look at their personnel files for additional information. Then, since you'll be spending more time with them, you'll have time to see them in action. You got to understand their input and perspectives, evaluate them, and gain perspective on the degree to which they can assist you in managing the department.
In addition, however, whether you came internally or externally, you must keep the lines of communication open to ensure that everyone has an equal chance to succeed and they feel that they have an equal chance to succeed. This can be an issue if you've been promoted and now some of your former peers report to you, or if you have come from another department in the company, but you know some of the people who will report to you. You need to make sure that these people are treated fairly, but they do not receive more of your time than others, or the new staff that you have will recognize that right away. And the people who you have known before have to treat you as the boss.
Right. That can set up some very awkward tensions if you're not careful.
No question. And there are times when you may have to come down on someone and have a one-on-one talk with them and say, look, we have worked together, we've been close, but now I'm the boss and I need to be treated that way.
Yeah, yeah, and I've had experiences where you you have a personal relationship with them outside the office. You know, they're friends of yours. You see them socially, etc., and you've got to always be careful that that doesn't influence what happens at work, and it can make it really awkward. Then, as you're doing your assessment, you and begin to feel that one of your direct reports may be ineffective. It may take a period of time to figure this out. But if you're out walking the floor, talking to staff, making an effort to understand their perspectives and insights, you'll discover an ineffective direct report much faster. You really have to keep your eye on everything that's going on in your department. Again, I've had this happen. I hired this person, knew this person socially. They were friends of my wife and I, and it took me a while because this person managed a large staff that was sort of a level below me, and I didn't pay attention to what was going on until I started hearing complaints from people they were servicing, and it took me a while before I realized this person just could not do the job. And it was very hard to deal with. And I think part of it is you don't want to think that of somebody that you may have hired, and you've got to be open to the possibility that you made a mistake when you hired them, and that's really a hard thing to do.
There's no question that it is, but leadership is so important that your direct reports, if one of them is not functioning properly, you at some point need to figure that out, figure what you're going to do, and if you have to, make a change so that people below who report to that person feel that you are on top of the situation, you're watching it, and you're making the right decision.
Well, and it's not just the people that report to them. It's also their peers. I mean, they know because they're impacted by their inability to do their job, and they're looking at you and going, "What are you doing about this? Why are we? Why haven't you dealt with this problem?" So it's everybody is suffers if you don't act on it.
No question. So it's clear that the smart manager will take the time to understand the staff before becoming too close with anyone. What's the time frame? Normally the time frame is about 2 to 3 months to begin to get a sense of people and how they function. As you are learning the organization and building rapport with staff, it will be important to watch for characteristics that build your confidence in someone's abilities. Some of the characteristics you are looking for is someone who is focused on their work, performs well, and is consistent. They complete work on time and in the preferred manner, and they're willing to bring a problem to the fore.
Yeah, and they also make suggestions that are all often right. For example, how to improve workflow or do a process better. They're comfortable with themselves and work well with those around them. People like them, and you're not getting a lot of complaints about them. And they're comfortable conducting two-way communication with you and others on the team. I mean, they hear people out, they listen to new ideas, they're respectful to their teammates and to their reports if they have staff under them, all of those things.
Yeah, communication, as we've mentioned again and again, is so critical. And this ability to have two-way communication so that you're sharing information back and forth is really critical. They also help other members of the team in time of need. They respect boundaries in an appropriate manner and are respectful of others. They give all the facts, even if it is hard. And that is a sign of a good employee who can come forward even if it's hard to do that. And they show gratitude for help given.
Yeah, on the discussing hard facts. I mean, it's also incumbent upon the manager never shoot the messenger.
Right.
You always have to be open to, bad news, especially if it's bad news that may reflect on you, and that's the hardest kind for your staff to bring to you. That maybe you screwed something up. And you want to do whatever you can to make sure they feel comfortable doing that if it's the case. Now, in the spirit of what we've been talking about, there will be people who will relish the opportunity to give you bad news. And you have to understand what their motivation is and evaluate the source of the bad news and in determining how to respond to it. So clearly observing these characteristics will take time and effort on your part. And you should plan to give yourself the time before becoming too close to anyone that you supervise. So in this episode, we've been talking about the need for a new manager or a manager with new staff or big changes in their department to take the time to get to know the staff, how they're interacting, and treat everyone pretty much equally until you've got a sense of, are there people who can be more valuable and more trusted, or less valuable and less trusted, and be alert to the fact that there will be people who try to get close to you, but their motives may not be the best. We hope you have found this podcast useful, and we'll come back again for more Management Mastery. If you have any comments about this or any of our episodes, or would like to find out more about our other services, including one-on-one coaching and group seminars for managers, visit our website at careercoachclass.com. Thanks for listening.